because I'm not gonna ruin the surprise on how it went. There might have been a hurricane.
Sure, yeah.
There was a hurricane. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's a little of a sit down video. I'm going to be talking about Michael and I's engagement and how it all went down and, you know, what happened afterwards and everything. So let's just get into it. So it all started, Michael was stationed in Florida at the time and I was back home in Washington State because I was working and going to school. He had planned on taking some leave for Christmas and it was going to be about 10 days. And he had planned to come. Well, he told me that he was planning on coming on the 23rd of December of 2017. And my plan, and his parents' plan, we were going to, I was gonna drive her to his parents' house on the 22nd, and then on the 23rd, we were going to go pick him up in Seattle, which is like a 3-hour drive from where we were. We're gonna pick him up at the airport when he flew in. I drove over to his parents' house. They were all getting packed and ready to go. And so I was just helping them out, and then they heard the knock on the door. And a little backstory is Michael isn't very good at keeping things from me. And so I knew he was coming home to surprise me a day early, and nobody else knew that I knew because he had turned his Snapchat location on and forgot to turn it off. So I was tracking him all the way from Florida to Washington. So I knew he was coming home, but they didn't know that I knew. So they heard a knock at the door and they said, "Hey Blair, can you go answer that? It's probably the mailman." So I was like, you know what? Yeah, sure. So I run to the door and they would look at me like, why is she running? So I opened the door and I was like, I knew you were coming. And Michael was at the door. And so I was like, I knew you were coming. I knew you were coming. And I was like, you can't hide things from me. And he was like, how'd you know? And I was like, well, you didn't turn off your location on Snapchat. So I ruined the surprise. I always ruin his surprises. He's not really good at holding things and keeping things from me. And I'm like a detective, like I always find everything out. I mean, I think that's how all girls are. If I'm the only one, then go me. But you know, if there's other people that are like that, let me know down in the comments, because you know you're out there. You know there's people out there that do that. So he surprised me a day early. We got to hang out that next day, and I had to drive back to where I was living, which is about an 1.5-hour drive to where I had to go to work. So I had to work that weekend. He stayed home to be with his family and I had to go back to work. And so I drove and went back home to work the next day. And his mom said, oh, we have to come into town to go to Costco, because they live in a small town where there's no Costco. So they were like, oh yeah, we gotta go to Costco. So Michael and him drove the next day to go to Costco, and while I was at work. And I was like, hey, maybe we can meet up, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, maybe, if we have time. And we didn't have time, so I got off work, and he was like, oh yeah, we're heading back home. And so he was like, but, he goes, I booked a photo shoot for us tomorrow so that we can have some pictures before I leave. And I was like, okay, cool. And he goes, so let's get, because you don't work tomorrow, so let's get packed up and we'll go spend the night at my parents' house. Went back to my house, we picked up a few things, and before we had left town, he was like, hey, let's go get your nails done just while I'm home, and I'll get my nails done too. And I was like, why? Like, you never do that. So I was like, I know something's up. So then we went back to his house and we hung out for the night, played some games, you know, and the next morning we got up early and he was just frantic. Like, he couldn't put words together, he couldn't put sentences together, he was just frantic. And I was like, what is going on with him? Like, is there something wrong? But then in the back of my mind, I was like, we had been talking about getting engaged, but like we weren't really completely like sure of it. And so he was just frantic. He couldn't make sentences. He was just like a mess. Like, he had no idea what he was like talking about. I was like, hey, that's kind of weird, you know, whatever. And then another thing was that he had a photo shoot and he never likes getting his picture taken. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I kind of just went along with it. I knew he was gonna propose, but I like didn't know when. So then the next morning, yes, we were all getting ready and I was running a little bit behind and he was like frantic. He's like, we're gonna be 10 minutes late, we gotta go. Like, this is a big deal, like we can't be late. And I was like, okay, like calm down, like let a girl just get ready for a photo shoot. So then I finished getting ready, we were like 10 minutes late. We drive up to this canyon and there's like trees on both sides and it was just gorgeous. So we hiked down to this little path we were gonna get our pictures taken. And another little backstory, so before he had left for boot camp, ever since we started dating, there was a thing that we always said, and he would always, every time we went to bed or like when we called and stuff, every time he would ask, are you happy? And I would reply yes, and then he would say, do you promise? So that's just something that we always said ever since we started dating. And then when he went to boot camp, in the letters he would write, are you happy? And then below it he said, you promise, question mark, just to like keep that alive. And that was just something that we always said. And so we got our pictures taken and we were doing all these cute poses and stuff, and he's still really nervous and like shaky. I'm like, okay, like boy, just propose. Like I've waited around, like come on, just propose. I'm waiting, stop freaking out, just propose. So we're getting our pictures and the photographer was like, hey, face each other, hold hands, and just smile. And so I was like, okay, yeah, that'll be cute. So then we do that and instantly he turns to me and he says, are you happy? And I was like, yeah. And like I knew this was the moment, you know the moment's coming. And he was like, I was like, yeah. And he was like, you promise? And I was like, yeah. And then he dropped down to one knee and said, Blair, will you marry me? And I was like shocked. And so I thought, like, ever since I was a little kid, I was like, oh, I'm gonna cry when I get proposed to. But I was literally just so shocked, even though I knew it was coming. Like, I don't understand how that happens. I knew it was coming and I was just like shocked. I was like, oh my god, yes. Like I like flipped out and I was like, yes, and I gave him a hug and stuff. And I'll put some pictures somewhere in this video. You'll see them, you'll see the pictures, they're cute. And so we got some more pictures or whatever, and we took pictures of the ring. This is the ring. He proposed with this one. He picked it out all by himself. And I'm pretty proud of him because this boy doesn't have any taste of fashion at all. And so, you know, if he picks this out, like, come on. I'm a real winner here. So he proposed with this ring and he knew my size because he had already gotten me like a promise ring before he had left for boot camp. And so he knew my ring size. And when he got that promise ring, he got it like way too big. And so I had to wait weeks to get it like resized and everything. And I had just got it back in time for when he left for boot camp. And so he knew my ring size and he made sure that he got it in the right size so that I didn't have to wait, because I hate waiting. And then we went back to his parents' house and his parents knew the whole time. They knew all along like what was happening. And I walked through the door and his mom just runs and gives me the biggest hug, and we start crying and we take pictures and, you know, the whole ordeal. And his dad gives me a hug, and I'm just so thankful for the relationship that I have with his family and his parents and his older sister. It's just like a great relationship. It couldn't be better. I love it and they're so amazing. We all went back to the house and we were celebrating. We had some champagne, we took pictures. I ended up calling my parents. They were like so excited for us. And then I called my sister, my twin sister, and then I called my older sister. I don't remember which order, so don't judge me. Haley and Alexis, don't judge if I called one of you ahead of the other, sorry. But so I called them and they were so happy and everything. And then we spent the night having dinner and just hanging out. And the next morning, so he proposed on December 30th. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. He proposed on December 30th, 2017. And December 31st, bright and early in the morning, we had to take him to the airport because he had to fly back home to Florida. And let me tell you, the waterworks were going. I was crying. I was a mess. the whole way to the airport, and I just felt so stupid. But like, you try getting proposed to and then having to say goodbye, and he has to go back over to the other side of the United States. Like, it's hard. And he had to fly all day because he was going from Washington to Florida. And so it was just like really hard on us because I was like, well, I just got engaged, and so we had to say goodbye. And that wasn't the first goodbye. Like, we've had so many with like boot camp and his graduation. So it wasn't like new, but it was harder because we were engaged the day before. And so he flew home, and he was flying when New Year's happened. And the ball dropped and everything, and I'm like crying in bed, of course, like I'm a mess. And my roommate is like trying to comfort me, and she's like, I don't know what to do, like I'm so sorry. But they were all going to like New Year's parties, and I was like, I don't want to do anything, like just leave me alone. So I just like sat in my room, and he was flying, and he finally got home at like, I think it was like 1 in the morning, and I stayed up because I was just like a mess. And he had called me right as he landed. He's like, hey, Happy New Year. And we said a little like celebration, you know, because FaceTime was as close as we could get to celebrating together. So that's what we did, a little celebration. And then I went to bed, and he had to go do his school stuff. And so he finished that, and he was doing all that. And then I had to go back to work the next day and all that. So we had our lives, and we were super busy. And Michael's home. You picking your nose?
I'm scratching my nose.
Someone's picking their nose. Stop. No! I don't remember where I left off. I said, ooh, Michael's home! Yeah. I was so excited because like you left, and then you came back, and I was like, oh, Michael's home.
Oh!
It wasn't like that. Yeah, so he had to go back to Florida. Are you picking at your nail? Stop! Quit picking at your nails. So he had to go back to Florida and finish school, and I had to go finish my school. Then we didn't really plan our wedding until like the last minute because we didn't know when it was gonna be, because there's no really reason. It's just with the military, we didn't know when he was going to be able to get like time off and leave and whatever. So we planned the wedding last minute, like 3 weeks before technically, and then I flew over there for the wedding. So, but that's a whole different video. So if you guys want to hear that video, leave a comment down below, because I'm not going to ruin the surprise on how it went. There might have been a hurricane.
Sure, yeah.
There was a hurricane. So if you want to listen to that video, leave a comment down below if you want to listen to it, or if you don't want to listen to it, then don't leave a comment. But just don't forget to subscribe, because you can watch all my other videos. You don't have to watch the one about our wedding. It's okay. I won't feel judged. I might be a little salty about it, but that's okay.
Is it? Is it really?
Yeah. Do you have anything to add? Mr. I'm not gonna be home, yet he comes home early.
I got told when I was almost there to not come back. So
Ever?
That's not on me.
You don't have to go back to work ever?
Fuck, I wish.
Anything to add? Do you have any insight on our engagement? Any background details or anything?
Don't leave the day after you're engaged.
Why?
She doesn't like it.
Like why you wanted to get engaged?
It's all for the money.
He's kidding.
Look at your face.
Partly.
You just got so upset. I'm kidding. It's not all for the money. I don't know. I didn't want to wait.
Because you love me?
Yup.
Can you show me that you love me? I know you don't wash your feet. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay. Can you say bye? Don't forget to subscribe. Michael, stop. Don't forget to subscribe. Give it a thumbs up if you think this boy has a pretty face.
Oh, I see him.
Just
See ya.
kidding. You won't have any likes if you do that. But yeah, so don't forget to subscribe down below. And leave a thumbs up. Thumbs up. And leave a comment on what you thought of the video. Sorry. Thanks for watching.